and then, you know, with all our composting sort of connection and our little messaging here, we created that, and we distributed 5,000 of those out in local newspaper, and again to local churches, local businesses. It's just very hands-on stuff. Again, we didn't cost us very much to do that. It didn't cost us just our time. So, and I just want you to read you this objective, what they call guerrilla marketing. It's such a big term, but it says, the objective of guerrilla marketing is to create a unique, engaging, and thought-provoking concept to generate buzz and consequentially turn viral. And I think, you know, you could do that in so many different ways. You know, it says here, you know, guerrilla marketing involves unusual approaches such as intercept encounters in public places, street giveaways of products, PR stunts, any unconventional marketing intended to get maximum results from minimal resources. And we didn't use any major stunts, but you can, and I highly recommend them, and they don't cost very much money to do them. And I don't know if you ever watch Gordon Ramsay, any of you guys on TV. Anyway, he's a big stunter with his, you know, getting his restaurants, which is all I'm interested at the moment, is getting his restaurants on the map. He does these things like where he'll go on the street and he'll give away food and promote their main concept, be it, you know, pasties or, you know, fish chips, whatever it is. He will go out there and he'll push on people and gather a crowd and make this sort of, you know, to do about his concept. And I think little things like that are really important. Anyways, so we kind of did that in our own quiet way. And so then let me see what else was there. Yeah, the main thing, the hugest thing, and we all look for it. It's the freest, most powerful thing in this city, and is publicity. So, you know, I created a press release again 5 or 6 months in advance, and about, you know, sometime before we opened, I got that out to the food influencers again, like, you know, it doesn't matter whose names they are. If you want to know, I don't mind saying it, but I just sent those and hounded them, called them up, sent them the press releases, talked to some people on the radio, talked to the online, you know, sort of network, and got the press release out there, and they loved our story. They thought it was great because there wasn't another fish and chips place in the city, unique fish and chips place. And again, you know, we had the unique product, and I think that was an advantage to us, you know. So all of a sudden we have 3 articles that are out in the Star Tribune and in 2 other outlets and online, you know, two months before we opened, and that was fantastic. And we have our Facebook is kind of going crazy, and so this is all, you know, happening before we opened. And then once we opened, it's like we opened the doors, and, you know, we had, I think, 400 or 500 people in the first day. And an awful lot of that was our friends and our local community was definitely part of that. And, you know, people would come in from that moment on after they had read our articles that went in the Metro and the Star Tribune and in all the usual places. And people came in saying, "Oh, we just read your article. You guys know what Minneapolis and St. Paul is like for their publications and their publicity. It's very, very powerful. People read it and they bring it in their pocket with them into the restaurant. You know, and if there's one thing you can get at it, it's publicity, and writing a really good press release, I think, is key. And getting at the right people, not just sending it into info@whatever.com. It's the actual person that's really going to look at it. And, you know, I interviewed with a few people, which was important too, so they got our story as well and felt like we were very genuine about what we were doing. So all of that combined, you know, gave us a really good jump start, you know. And some people said you guys are very lucky, and I don't believe in luck, even though, you know, they say the luck of the Irish and all that rubbish. But I don't believe in luck, but I do believe in and I think that we really had a great idea, and we had an amazing amount of support, you know, even from Northeast Bank. They're like, we're not supporting anybody anymore financially. And we're like, well, we need a little bit of money, any chance you give us some? And they gave it to us. She liked it. You know, Donna Aldama, God bless her, she's not there anymore, but she believed in our concept, and she gave us, you know, a little bit of money, and we got some local aid, which was amazing. And again, you guys all should probably know this, but, you know, reaching out to the different areas where you can find money to help you, because as I said, we really, if you knew how much money we started on, you'd laugh a little bit. But we managed to pull it off, and we reached out to all of our friends and said, if you put up these tiles in the kitchen, I'll give you free fish and chips for the rest of your life. If you do this and this. And so, you know, this is part of the community thing, and, you know, people came to our, you know, I'm not going to go on too much because I know we have a bit of time, but people came to our place daily with food and with support, and like, when are you going to open, and here's some food because I know you guys are starving, and you know, we got that kind of support, and that's huge. And I think about, I don't know the exact amount, because we're going to start tracking things a bit better in the next year or two. I'd say about 15 to 20% of our present business on a weekly basis is repeater, you know, returns, not referrals. And I think that's, to me, is pretty high for a first year, and I'm really, really thrilled about that, and so are Jenny and Luke. So, you know, and then the last thing I'll say is, you know, now that we're open, word of mouth is huge. I look at our place every weekend. I don't know, and I'm there all the time as my partners. And I'm like, I don't know any of these people. They weren't here last week. I've never seen them before. And I'm sure Mr. Senyai Senlek down there, you probably feel the same way. You see new people coming in all the time. You're like, where are they coming from? And that is, a lot of that is word of mouth and publicity, because we're not doing a lot of print. We're not doing it, you know, the obvious regular marketing sort of angle, and we probably won't continue to do. We won't do that, I should say. But we plan to support the Current and get our message out in that, because we want to support somebody that's, you know, a really good outlet for listeners and for, you know, people, consumers. But we don't want to do the sort of the general kind of marketing direction, and it's not because of money. It's just because we want to try and do things a little different, try and get maybe a radio show at our place, do different angle things that are creative, don't cost us any money. I love that, don't cost us any money. And then get the results from it. And that, again, the guerrilla marketing, it sounds so huge and scary, but it really means just, you know, really creative ideas with a maximum impact and a minimum amount of spend. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like a very complicated plan, but it worked for us, and I'm really pleased. And I thank a lot of people in this room that I know spread the word and were very supportive of our concept from the word go. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions right now?
I would just have a question. I was wondering how effective you think sort of your price point was in designing your menu and how that factored in.
Absolutely. And I omitted to mention price because it's so important, but yeah, our price point was based on where we were based, our community and the local neighbourhood. And we wanted it to be under $10. Two reasons. The first reason was it was a community restaurant, a local neighbourhood restaurant, and we didn't want to scare anyone off. And the second reason was we were opening during a recession, and we knew that, you know, under $10 was a smart move. So our most expensive item on the menu at the time was $10, and now it's $11. But the fish and chips was $8 something, so it's pretty reasonable.
Is this cod?
It is Alaskan cod, yes. Yeah.
Great.
Fresh. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this relates to, you know, and I know all the different businesses that are around the table, and it's food, and it's still a product at the end of the day. And I do, you know, I didn't say this, but I keep putting emotional and passion on my page, and I didn't want to mention it, but, you know, Luke and Jenny and I were very emotional and very passionate about being in this neighbourhood and about the concept. And I really think it's so important if you do open up a business like what you guys have done at your place, you know, and I know you care about what you do, and a lot of people I know here that do. It's so important because it's so hard to be in that and promote it and you know, push it if you don't have some passion for it, you know. And it's just that's a sideline, but I really do think it's important. The big marketeers would say, to hell with the passion, you know, but I'm like, I don't agree. For small business, it's very different.
You talked about your Facebook page, and yeah. I think managing social media is something that I struggle with. It's like, what is your voice? What is the consistency of it?
Right.
Do you all pitch in and take turns, or do you have one person assigned to it? And how do you decide what to put on?
Well,
and how often?
Yeah, that's a good point. And we don't do things super often on our Facebook for the very reason that, you know, I don't have personal Facebook because I'm not a big fan of it because there's too much chitter chatter on a personal level. But in business, it's very important. And Twitter, it leads into your Twitter, and the Twitter I think is a really important influencer out there to media and to people who are, you know, who are roaming around looking for things, you know, new things to do. But we don't touch our Facebook super often. But when something comes up that's important, we'll put it on, which could be once a month. And between Jenny and I, we'll put things on. We'll put on a video or some photos, or, you know, when our outdoor tables came about, we took pictures and put them out, or we took a video of something, we put them on, or our first family that came into the place. Just again, things are really important to us. So we probably could push put more information on our Facebook more frequently. But I have a friend who's a media woman, and we're going to talk to her about taking over that, and just pay her a monthly stipend, something we can afford, to say, well, you just keep on top of this, and she posts our, we've got quite a lot of really, really great publicity since we've opened, and she posts all that on our online, and, she's going to put, our favorite links to all our business people, our favorite businesses in Northeast. She's going to put that on our Facebook. So it's things that we don't have time to do, and we can do it, but we don't have time. She's going to start doing that. We'll give her, whatever, more than just fish and chips. We'll give her some money. Fine, we can give her a few bob. So yeah, I think you need someone to be honest, but I don't think it has to be every day. That's my opinion.
Also being an organizer in one of the meetup groups, kind of wondering when I would bring my people in, do you have, you mentioned, I love the Irish flag.
The Irish which?
The Irish part of it.
Oh yeah.
It's not just fish and chips. It's also cultural in that aspect. So, do you have nights that you have specials on Jameson?
We actually don't serve, thank God we don't serve whiskey. We do beer and wine only. It's our license because of the nature of where we are located. And that's all we wanted. We didn't really want to get into being a bar. There's a bar down the street. We wanted to do something that wasn't competitive. And it's just perfect, beer and wine. We got really the best, I think, best Guinness in town, actually. We've got really good Guinness, and we've got Harp and a few other local beers, but just very simple, just a white and a red wine. And our menu's up there, you can see that. And I left a bunch of these free beers and anchor dollars for anybody who'd like them. Please help yourselves. You can try out all that stuff.
No, that's okay. Any other questions for Catherine? And we're going to have a open discussion. But, if not, I'm going to have Christina just briefly explain the one thing that the co-op wants to offer the business people who are here today, a small opportunity, free opportunity, maybe not gorilla, but free opportunity to promote your business.
One of the concepts of this meeting was going to be a way to cross-promote businesses. And the co-op felt one way we could help with that is we could offer some free advertising in our co-op newsletter. And our co-op newsletter, this coming issue where we're offering an ad is the December-January issue. So that's a good time for holiday shopping. And we have subscribers of, I think, about 2,000 that subscribe to our newsletter, and then of course the newsletter is put out in the co-op. It's free, and what we wanted to do was offer a special kind of holiday shopping insert, although your business to get in it doesn't necessarily have to be specifically retail. If you're here today, you can put in an ad. And so I've got a form that I attached to your agenda. And the form is pretty simple. The ad is going to be a business card size. So after I developed the form, I realized that maybe there's room here to put a lot of text, but it might not all get in. But still, feel free to fill it out for what makes sense to you. Your business name, address, website if you have one, your hours of operation, what your products or what your services are. If you have a little tagline or a motto or a kind of a blurb about your business that you use. And then if you want to do a special offer, if you want to make your ad into a coupon, present this ad, $5 off any purchase of $25 or more, or 10% discount. An expiration date is a good idea, but that's optional. I put my card back at the table there. If people have questions, they can email me or just talk to me after the meeting. But because our submission deadline is the 15th of November, and today's the 11th, people need to fill these out and leave these here today. And then there's a little tear-off section you can keep for your records, and that has